Hey, it's me, NT, and welcome to my 7th in-depth walkthrough for the bosses of Hollow Knight, Silksong. Today we're looking at the 3rd set of bosses in Act 2, Father of the Flame, Second Sentinel, Forebrothers Signis Gron, and Chakra. I'll show you where the boss is, how to prepare for it, and break down the techniques needed to defeat them. Here's the location of Father of the Flame, and the bench you'll start from. At this point, I had another spool for a total of 8, and still had 8 masks. For this fight, I suggest the Wanderer's Crest with your choice of red tool. For blue tools, I suggest the Fractured Mask, the Magma Bell, and the Weave Light. Yellow tools are the Compass, the Weighted Belt, and the Magnetite Brooch. Now, the Father of Flame isn't so much a boss as a gimmick fight or a platforming challenge. Your objective is to break 4 flame lanterns, 1 on each of his arms, and then to shatter the giant globe in the center. The whole time you're doing this, flame wisps will constantly drift out from the center orb, turn into fireballs, and launch themselves towards you and explode. This is the only attack you have to worry about for phase 1, so make sure you keep moving during this fight, and double jump to get out of the way if you need to. Damaging the lanterns doesn't give you silk, so if you're struggling, make sure you have a full silk spool going into this fight, and don't break your cocoon until you've healed once. The easiest way to damage the lanterns are by pogoing off of them, but unlike what I did on the left side, you should really start at the topmost lanterns, because it's pretty difficult to go back up if you've already broken the bottom lanterns and can't pogo off them. But both double jump and claw line are pretty useful for getting around in this fight, and double jump helps for resetting your pogo position. Once you've broken all the lanterns, phase 2 will begin. Father of Flame gains an additional attack. He'll shout and then fire a bullet hell of fireballs outward from his core. If you're on the ground, this is pretty easy to dodge, but don't let it catch you in the air. After his bullet hell attack, pogo back up and keep pogoing off the lantern until his next bullet hell attack, where you'll want to hurry back to the ground. Continue this cycle until you win. I don't know if this explosion does damage, but I recommend staying away from it. Here's the location of Second Sentinel and the bench you'll start from. For this fight, I recommend the Reaper's Crest with your choice of red tools. I would actually recommend not using tools at all in this fight, since there's no discernible phase 2 to know when to start using them, and you probably need all your mental bandwidth just focusing on Second Sentinel. For blue tools, I use the Fractured Mask, the Weave Light, and the Snitch Pick, but I would suggest that you replace the Snitch Pick with the Injector Band. For yellow tools, I recommend the Compass, the Ascendant's Grip, and the Magnetite Brooch. While I found Father of the Flame to be pretty easy, Second Sentinel was anything but. In fact, Second Sentinel was the first boss in Silksong that made me question if my skills were up to the task. It was probably my over-reliance on claw line with Snitch Pick that hurt me, because it kept popping me up in the air. Once I stopped using claw line and mostly stayed on the ground, I won. You can get 1 charge attack off at the beginning of the fight, but you have to wait for him to finish his bowing animation. Just like Lace, if you strike Second Sentinel while he's blocking, he'll counterattack straight in front of him. This counterattack has a surprising amount of range, but also like Lace, he's vulnerable to pogo attacks during the counter. Second Sentinel's most basic attack is also his longest range, a thrust attack that covers 1/3 of the arena, followed by a slash that covers another 1/4 or so. This is a great opportunity to pogo off him and deal some damage, or claw line him in the head and transition into a pogo. When Second Sentinel is in the air and holds his pins like so, he's about to do a dive attack. It covers a lot of distance, so instead of running away, you should run directly under him, then counterattack when he lands. Second Sentinel can chain into this attack from other attacks, especially his diagonal upwards attack. So if he whiffs an air attack, you should watch out for this dive. If you can't get under him in time, jump straight up to dodge. Second Sentinel's most annoying attack is a giant X slash. He'll store an X of energy for a moment, leap towards you, and release a giant X that deals damage. Since he leaps towards you, it can be difficult to get out of the range of this attack, so a better tactic is to slot yourself between the arms of the X instead of running away. He also has a fast wave attack that travels along the floor. When he stretches his swords behind his back, a projectile is coming, so get ready to jump out of the way. Just a quick hop up will suffice, and will get you back on the ground and back to the offensive faster. In addition to his ground projectile, Second Sentinel also has an air-based version that travels diagonally downwards. Just like the dive, he can transition into this from a jump or an air attack. He'll leap backward a little bit after firing it, and if he hits a wall, he might jump off of it and attack again. Try to move under the projectile so you can get a hit in when Second Sentinel lands. If you see him crouch like this, he's about to do a diagonal upward spinning attack. Don't try to pogo off this attack, because even if you parry the blades, you'll still get hit by the contact damage. Instead, you should dash away. This fight is all about learning Second Sentinel's mini attacks, how to dodge them, and how to counterattack, so it might take a lot of retries. My single best piece of advice is to not get caught in the air with this boss. Stay near the ground, let Second Sentinel lead, and show him what a good dancer you are. Here's the location of Forebrothers Signis Gron and the bench you'll start from. For this fight, I recommend the Wanderer's Crest with the throwing ring. For blue tools, I suggest the Fractured Mask, the Magma Bell, and the Snitch Pick. Yellow tools should be Compass, Weighted Belt, and Magnetite Brooch. If you've waited this late in the game to take on the Forebrothers, congratulations! You clearly outlevel them, and it shouldn't be too hard of a fight. If you're here because you got the key in Bone Bottom and it's still early game, you might want to hold off on this fight for a bit. Beating them only unlocks the way to some items and a door you can't unlock until later, so feel free to skip them for now if you're struggling. We start the boss fight with a one-on-one against Forebrothers Signis, who has 3 attacks. If you see him skip backwards, he's about to spin his spear above his head like so. I'm honestly not sure what the point of this attack is, since he never hit me with it. I don't think it's a counter, so maybe it's a defensive anti-air attack. The main attack you'll see is when he tosses his dual blade like a boomerang. It comes out really quickly, but you'll have an opportunity to hit him while the blade is out, and you can land another hit or 2 after it returns. In addition, Signis has a 2-hit combo that also comes out very quickly. You'll have a brief period to counterattack if he whiffs. Since Signis launches both his boomerang and combo attacks with a little warning, you want to stay away from him while he's in neutral stance. This is another boss where positioning is very important. You should stay about here, far enough away you can't be hit by the first swing of his combo, and close enough to jump in to deal damage during his boomerang attack. After a bit, Signis will yell and summon a minion. Take the minion out as quickly as possible, while staying off the ground so Signis can't hit you. This is where the Snitch Pick claw line really comes in handy, as the Snitch Pick will refill the silk you use on the claw line. For the second wave, focus on taking out the aerial enemy first. I got lucky and baited him into the lava, and then kill the ground enemy before resuming your attack on Signis. His third yell will summon Forebrother Gron, who enters with a dive attack, so don't stand under his dust cloud. Gron's main attack is a spear toss, where he throws a flaming spear at your location. The spear explodes a second later, but it has such a small radius that it never hit me, so I'm not even sure if the explosion deals damage. Gron's other attack is a spear dive that explodes when he hits the ground. This explosion does do damage, but again, the radius is smaller than you would expect. Instead of dashing away to dodge, just jump up and away a little, land back at Gron's feet, and hit him a time or two. However, while Signis is still on the field, we want to solely concentrate our damage on him. Don't even hit Gron if he's a target of opportunity, because your sole focus should be on removing Signis from the fight. Maintain ideal position, dodge Gron's spears, and counterattack during Signis' boomerang toss or when he whiffs. After Signis falls, you can focus on Gron. Since he only has 2 attacks, he's pretty easy, but there is a new twist. A column of lava falls from the center of the room now, and it'll make dodging Gron's attack and chasing him down that much more difficult. There's a little trickle of lava that falls before the column descends, so you do get some warning, but the better plan is to stay out of the center of the room at all times and check for any lava before crossing over. Also, be mindful of your magma bell and make sure its protection has recharged before pressing the attack. If you take it slow and steady, the fight against Gron is essentially a victory lap, and it won't be long before you cross the finish line. Here's the location of Shakra and the house you'll start from. For this fight, I suggest the Reaper's Crest with the 3-fold pin and the Volt Vessel bolas. For blue tools, I recommend the Warding Bell, the Weave Light, and the Long Claw. Yellow tools should be the Compass, the Ascendant's Grip, and the Magnetite Brooch. If you haven't unlocked the hot tub yet, I would suggest doing so before starting this fight. Soaking in the tub fills your silk spool, and you might need those extra heals. As a side note, the hot tub also helps with courier deliveries, since you can heal up without resting at a bench and resetting any enemies you've killed. Shakra is another fight like Second Sentinel that mostly comes down to skill and ingraining her attacks into your muscle memory. But no matter how long you practice, Shakra's projectiles are really hard to dodge on purpose, especially if she throws them from off screen. That's why you need to stay in the air as much as possible against Shakra, so the random nature of your rising and falling will throw off her aim. Basically, you want to repeat the following pattern of actions: double jump, air dash, and attack, with variations based on the situation. Her most basic attack is a ring toss, aimed right at your location. If Shakra lingers in a neutral stance without moving or beginning another attack, assume she's about to toss a ring or two. If you're staying in the air, you should naturally dodge the first ring, but take evasive maneuvers to dodge the second. Shakra's ground pound also comes out really fast, but if you can reliably predict it and dodge, you'll have a good chance to counterattack. Like her ring toss, she doesn't really have a telegraph, so you'll have to operate under the assumption that if she appears near the top of the screen, she's about to do a ground pound. To dodge, jump up and slightly away, and hit her either as she's falling or once she's landed. She can ground pound 1 to 2 times in a row, and I have seen her transition into another series of ground pounds, so always plan to dodge and counter at least a second one. The best time to hit Shakra is during her charge attack. She has a significant telegraph where she lands on the ground and slides backwards before the attack begins. So if you see her do this, even if she ends up off screen, immediately jump to the air. If her attack ends in front or underneath you, pogo off her. But if she crosses under you, watch out for her follow-up attack. After about a 2-second delay, she'll toss a ring perpendicular to the ground. After enough practice, You should be able to hit with an air dash strike either before or after the ring toss. If you manage to stagger Shakra, I suggest immediately tossing a Volt Vessel Bola and then punishing her with your needle. This will build Silk, and you might get a multi-hit with the Volt Vessel. Shakra can use a ring to interrupt your healing no matter where you are on the screen, so if you need to heal, do it when she whiffs an attack. During her charge attack is a particularly good time to mid-air heal, since that attack is ground-based. This is another boss that relies on speed and agility instead of a tanky HP bar, so if you stay alive and keep landing hits, she doesn't take too long to beat. I hope this video helped you out, or at least gave you an interesting look at some of the bosses. We're in the home stretch of Act 2, with only 2 bosses left. If you'd like to know when that video releases, would you please subscribe and turn notifications on? And if you found this video super helpful and you want to support me, there's a Ko-Fi link in the description. Anyway, that's it for me this evening. I hope you're still enjoying Silksong, and bye!